And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, today we're taking a look at a game called Melee. This is from Indie Boards and Cards, and this is a small combat style game where you are trying to control a kingdom. I mean, this game is a very short game. It says 20 minutes on the box. That is absolutely true. The setup for this game is a good chunk of the game, and then you play very quickly using cards and money. Well, let me just show you. Depending on how many players are in the game, decides which board you're going to use. This is for 3 players. You can see 3 castles, a 2-player board, or you can unfold them both and flip it over, and now you have the 4-player board. Now each player has their own castle, and in their castle they're going to put one of their starting soldiers. Players will have 4 different types of units. They have a soldier, they have a catapult, they have a knight, and they have a tent here. Now, players are going to the game takes place over 4 turns, but we're going to say 5, because there's an initial preliminary kind of setup turn. And during that setup turn, players are going to take turns going around a table, either buying more units with their starting money and placing those units on the board, and at the beginning of each game, you're going to draw a certain number of cards. Let's say it's a 4-player game. We would draw 5 cards. Bidding on these cards, and if you win one of these cards, it gives you a special ability that you'll have the whole game. So players will do that. These are the only cards you will use. The rest of the deck is not used. You would use it in another game. After that, the game takes place over 4 seasons. And so players have a card here. You'll keep track. And in each of the first 3 seasons, each player will play 1 card. And in the last seasons, players will play 2 cards. At the beginning of a season, there's going to be a secret auction where players will bid money to see who gets the first player. Only the person who bids the highest pays their money, but they will go first each turn. Players each have 3 cards that they have a choice between playing: a tax card, a move and attack card, and a recruit card. They'll play these cards, and then they'll take turn, going in turn order, do what their card says. Taxes is very easy, just gives you 3 money. That's your whole turn. Recruit, you can buy more soldiers, knights, and different units, catapults and tents here for the cost shown on the card. When you recruit, you can recruit to a spot you already are at. You can always recruit to your castle. You can recruit to the 2 zones next to your castle if they are empty, or if you have a guy somewhere else, you can recruit there. There can only be 1 of each type of unit in an area. Tents can't go in your castle, and there only can ever be 1 color per area on the board. The big card here is move and attack. This is where you can move each of your units. Your catapults can move. They can't move, but they can attack to spots next to them. Your regular soldiers can move 1 and attack into an adjacent province. Your knights can move and attack, and if they're successful, keep attacking and attacking and attacking, which is why they cost 6 rather than 2. Your tents can't attack. When you attack someone else, before you attack them, you tell them how much money you have. So I'd say I have 7. Then you pay for that attack. You're going to put forth a certain number of coins in your hand. Your opponent guesses how many coins you have. If they're correct, you lose. If they're incorrect, you win. Either way, you pay those coins. So it's a very interesting attack mechanism, especially if you have like only 3 coins. If you win with a knight, you can attack again. If you win, you make your opponent lose the piece in the area you're attacking into. If they win, the attacking piece is destroyed. If you destroy an opponent's tent, you can change it to one of your tents. At the end of a round, each player will get 1 coin for every tent that they have on the board. There's a few other rules, like in the middle here in this Kilimanjaro, knights aren't allowed in there, catapults can't attack in there. There's some areas in the board that give you money if you control them. If you attack a castle, they get to pick 2 numbers instead of 1 when they're defending that, so it's harder for you to successfully attack it. And there's all sorts of special cards, like if you control the ones that you can win at the beginning of the game. Here at the beginning of each season, you take a gold from everyone else. Here your knights are 3 instead of 6. Here you can convert any of your soldiers to knights for 2 gold. Here, a soldier outside the castle gets a gold every season. Here your soldiers can choose a 0 in an attack. Here, after you recruit, you gain 3 gold. So these cards will make a big difference over the course of the game. If you capture someone else's castle, you win immediately. Otherwise, the game will end after the 4th season, and whoever controls the most areas on the board is the winner of the game. Melee has a couple things that are pretty distinctive about it. The first is the attacking. I love that idea. I mean, in practice, it's such an entertaining thing. I have 5 coins. I'm attacking you. How many coins am I going to use? You're sitting there thinking, well, he's a cheapskate, so he'll probably only use 1. But he knows that I think he'll be a cheapskate, so you use the whole Medici defense there. He knows that I know that he knows that I know. So anyhow, that's a really fascinating thing, and it's cool because the extra defense where you pick 2 numbers, that's such a simple thing. The combat system is really neat and is the most distinctive feature of this game, other than the fact that the game is very quick. I mean, it plays very quickly. And because of that, because it plays quickly, and because there's that whole combat, guessing the other person's numbers, etc., it can end very briefly. You can capture someone's castle quickly or not at all, and so someone might complain and say, wow, it's kind of a lucky game. Which I don't mind so much because it is 20 minutes. Now, the artwork and everything, there's some pixelization involved there, and again, why? I mean, I just don't get that. I mean, the artwork on the cover is fine. You can, whatever. I guess this pixel thing is just going to last until all the people who played video games in the 80s realize that artwork has progressed beyond that point. But it's there, so you might like that, you might not. It's intriguing, those special cards at the beginning of the game, and that beginning of the game thing is kind of stressful because you're saying, oh, I recruit, and then I'm going to bid on this card, and then it comes back, and oh, I'm going to bid on that card again, and you only have so much money over the course of the game. You don't get a ton of money over the game, so you got to make sure you get the units. You want one of those special cards at the beginning of the game, but someone else might be outbidding you for those, and it's neat because there's only a few of those special cards per game. They will change each game dramatically. Now, here's the whole thing, folks. I think that this game has some really clever ideas, and I like it, and I'll play it, and I recommend it. But it feels like it's on the cusp of something greater. When I do that combat mechanism, I'm like, wow, what? This feels like it should be used in a full-fledged game. And there are many times you'll play this and you'll be like, it's over. Oh, all right, let's play it again. But the build-up is, the curve and arc of the game is over so quickly that I think some people might struggle with that. They'll sit there and go, it was too fluffy for what it was. There was some, ooh, this is getting interesting and it's over idea, and I think some people will not be a fan of that. As it is, I thought it was fresh, it's neat, it's cool, it feels like a piece of a bigger, cooler game, but as it is, it's certainly one I think some people should check out. Something different at least, Melee. Dice Tower Judgment, approved.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Shut the door!